So that is what exactly we need to understand today. So one of the basic experiments, let's say what he conducted was, he actually used a very simple technique. So let us just understand what this law is all about. And let's say this is one of the basic laws of physics, let's say for electricity section at least. So in last periods, we have completed our introduction, electric current and circuit, electric potential and potential difference, and circuit diagram. So we have covered at least, let's say 3 points. The first point cannot be counted because that is just introduction, just a simple paragraph, a small 1 or 2 paragraphs. So technically, we have covered only 3 points. Today, we are going with Ohm's law. So let us try to understand in a very simple language what exactly is Ohm's law. So just consider this. What he did was, he, let's say, used a cell. He used a cell and he connected it to a, suppose, let's say, a device. Now any device, I last time I told you, it can be showed with the help of this kind of diagram, that is a zigzag symbol. And what he did was, he also connected one of the emitters here. Let's say he connected one emitter is nothing but the device through which you can measure electric current. So emitter he connected, let's say, in the circuit. And let's say what he did later was, he joined this circuit in this way. And in this fashion, what he did was, the voltage, suppose, let us say, in this case, he said it was V, and the current, whatever is coming, let's say, he was measuring with the help of ammeter. So he did a very interesting thing. He created one table, and he just was trying to find out the relation between V and the relation between I. V means potential difference of your cell or battery, and I is nothing but the current which is flowing due to your battery. So he just, let's say, created a table, and he was trying to find out what is the, let's say, relation between potential difference and current. So what he did is, he found out current for 1 volt, then 2 volt, then 3 volt, and 4 volt. So each time he increased the voltage of the battery, and correspondingly he found out what is the current value. Now you don't need to remember, because it might change, the current value changes in your circuit depending on what kind of device you are connected. Because somebody might connect here a TV, somebody might connect here a sound, somebody might connect something else as well. So we don't know what kind of current he received, because the device we don't know. But one thing we don't, let's say, we really know is that he increased the potential difference each time. Like 1 volt, then 2 volt battery, then 3 volt battery, he replaced each time. And he found out current each time corresponding to those potential differences. And how did he measure current? See, we can understand he found out because he was using a particular cell or battery, because that potential difference is written on the battery. So we know the voltage. What about the current? The current was measured with the help of ammeter, this ammeter, right? The use of this devices that he was using it to find out current. And when he, let's say, created this big table, like all this table was created, he found out that the relation between two of these is a very simple one. And he said the relation is V is directly proportional to I. He found out that they both of them have direct relationship with each other. And what do you mean by direct relationship? See, you had this topic in your class 8. Direct relationship is when one quantity increases, another quantity also increases, right? Okay, so this thing is very much important, correct? Okay, so whenever your current is increasing, let's say potential difference is increasing, current is also increasing. That is what he found out. Okay, so this is the relation. Sumedh, I told you already that unless and until we complete parallel and series circuit, we are not going to discuss how ammeter is connected, right? Okay, so then what's the point in asking again? Okay, chalo. So let us start with this point. So potential difference is directly proportional to the current. So that is what exactly found out. So simple as that. So whenever potential difference increases, your current also increases. Now what we do to remove this proportionality sign, generally in your 8th standard, something was told to you that whenever we want to remove the proportionality sign, all we need to put is a constant value there. Put a constant value there, and let's say have that I again. And in place of constant, you can write down any letter from A to Z. But Ohm decided that he is going to use R there. Ohm decided that he is going to use R there. And he started calling that R as resistance. He started calling that R as resistance. So can we just say that resistance is nothing but, let's say, one of the constant values which you get in your Ohm's law. Okay, now students get confused a lot of time. Let's say which one of them is the Ohm's law. The confusion is regarding V proportional to I and V is equal to IR. In the exam, that's a very common question that please state Ohm's law. So many of the students get confused which one to write. See, this is Ohm's formula. Like, whatever the law we have studied, that is the formula for this. So you can just say this is Ohm's formula. But this is not Ohm's law. Ohm's law is this. This is Ohm's law. Are you understanding the difference between the two? Please write down the chat box that one of them is Ohm's law, one of them is just a formula. The formula is V is equal to IR, and the Ohm's law is V proportional to I. There is a common difference between the two, and do not make mistake in the exam because it's a very common question that is asked. Okay, fine. Chalo. So let us move on with this. The first thing we have understood that proportionality is there between V and I, direct relation. Okay, now next question. In the law, he said that while conducting this experiment of mine, Ohm said that the temperature should remain constant. He said temperature should remain constant. Okay, so this is something which we are going to understand in factors section. That is in 12.5. So we are not going to discuss much about this right now, but we are just seeing the statement that Ohm said that temperature should remain constant during the experiment. We will see the details later that why he said this, that temperature should remain constant, because how does it matter? Like if your temperature is changing from 20 to 25 degrees Celsius while conducting this experiment, how does it even matter? So that we will see later, not right now, but that is in the statement. Okay, so now with that point in mind, let us have, let us understand the concept of resistance. What is the unit? And suppose, let us say, what is the symbol we use for it? So resistance is, let's say, is nothing but denoted by R, and the unit for that is Ohm. Unit of resistance is Ohm. Okay, and what is the, let's say, symbol do we use for showing Ohm? Like for example, current, we show something like 25 amperes, yeah, 30 amperes, we use A. So for resistance, we use Ohm, but sometimes you can write down either Ohm or you can use symbol for Ohm, that is this one. That is a sigma, let's say, kind of, let's say, symbol. So a horseshoe kind of. So that is one of the symbols of Ohm. So you can use either 25 Ohm or either 25 Ohm like this. So it's up to you which symbol you need to use, let's say, either in the words or in the symbol. Right? That is up to you. Now let us try to understand one thing we have, let's say, clearly understood that V is proportional to I. R is constant. R has, let's say, a name, that is resistance. It has a unit Ohm. But one thing we are not understanding is what exactly is this resistance? Because this has been talked a lot, let's say, from the last 5 minutes. But one thing we are not sure is what is the resistance. Okay, so let us try to understand this. So resistance is nothing but whenever you, let's say, hear about this word or you are thinking about this word, what comes to mind? Resist. Okay, what do you mean by resist? Resist means, can we just say like something to stop? Let's say maybe some kind of stop or maybe some kind of obstruction. English word. I'm not saying even scientific word. Resist, like what if you are resisting something, right? Yes, avoid, Ritesh, correct. So either stop, either avoid. Sume, the correct restriction, maybe some kind of, let's say you are stopping something, right? Okay. So let us try to understand who is stopping what. If the meaning is to stop something or to obstruct something, let us try to understand who is stopping whom exactly. So this is your, suppose, let's say, any material. Let us say it's copper. For example, this is copper. Okay, and these are your atoms. Okay, these are your atoms, because as you know, every material is made up of atoms. In your 9th standard, you have been, let's say, taught about this, that every material is made up of atom. Acha, then what about that? See, problem is that your electricity is flowing due to electrons. In the first period itself, we have defined electric current as flow of electric current, correct? Whenever the current is flowing, so that is exactly what is the meaning of, let's say, electric current. So can we just say, suppose the terminal here is positive. Let us just say the terminal here is positive of the battery, and the terminal here is negative, right? You know, the negative side has been connected to this one. So one is here positive, one is negative. Okay, so what is going to happen is the electrons are going to move, let's say, in this direction. So if there is one electron, a tiny electron here, what they're going to do is they are going to go in which direction? This direction. Every electron will try to go in the, let's say, left direction in our circuit. Now problem is that whenever they're trying to travel, they are being stopped by whom? Atoms. Atoms are in their way. Like they want to travel straight forward, but who is stopping them? These atoms. Okay. So can I just say atoms are stopping? Let's say atoms are not moving at all because they are not charged, but electrons are moving because they are charged particles. So they are moving from negative to positive. So in short, can we say atoms are stopping electrons? Is it this the idea? Let's say a simple idea. Can we say like this, that atoms are stopping electrons? What do you think? In the chat box, can you please write? Are you, let's say being connected to this topic, that atoms are stopping electrons because electrons want to move in certain direction, atoms are in the way, and they are creating some kind of, let's say, obstruction. Okay, this obstruction has a name, and that name is resistance. Okay, so can somebody tell me, like, who is offering resistance? Is electron offering resistance or atoms are offering resistance? What do you think? No, Aditya, proton was never discussed, so proton cannot be the answer, right? Okay, yes, correct. Palak, Ria, Atharva, Ritesh, atoms, yes, Akansha, very much correct. Yes, 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 yes. So resistance is the one who is offering, let's say, atoms are the one who is offering resistance. Acha, tell me one thing. Can I just say every matter in the world is made up of atoms? Agreed? Every matter in the world is made up of atoms, and atoms provide resistance. Atoms provide resistance. So can we say every matter in the world has resistance? Every matter in the world has resistance because everybody is made up of matter. Okay, so what about our body? What do you think? Our human body, does it has any kind of resistance? What do you think? Obviously, right? Our body is also made up of atoms. So yes, definitely, even our body has some kind of resistance. Okay. Yes, correct. So one thing we definitely know is, let's say somebody has, but can we say even if all the matter has resistance, if every matter has resistance, but somebody might be having high resistance and somebody might be having low resistance. It might happen that somebody has high, somebody has low. Okay, the high resistance might be with whom? The materials which do not allow electricity to flow through them. The materials which do not allow electricity to flow through them must be having high resistance, and those are insulators. Can we say something like this, that those are basically insulators? So insulators are having high resistance. Example, plastic. So plastic will offer a lot of resistance and it will not allow electricity to flow through them. Yes. And what about low resistance? Metals. Metals are the perfect example for low resistance, because metals, as you know, allow electricity to flow through them. Basically conductors, we can say. Correct? Metals or conductors, right? Because metals is the example of conductors. Okay, so somebody has high resistance, somebody has low resistance, that we know. Now, have you understood this? Let's say matter is nothing but, let's say, has a, let's say, every matter has high, let's say, has a resistance. Somebody has high, somebody has low resistance. Okay. Now, a simple question. Simple question. Can I just say, if every matter has resistance, and if resistance has the symbol of like this, something like zigzag lines, can I use this symbol for every matter in the world, like for human body, or maybe iron, or maybe copper, or maybe plastic? What do you think? Can I use the symbol for everybody? Because this symbol seems to be just a resistance symbol, right? So as every matter has a resistance, so we can say that this can be used for everybody, including human body, including iron, including plastic. Okay, so this is something which is very basic. Okay, good, 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 good. So if I'm asking you to draw a symbol for your TV, so a simple question: would you draw the symbol of TV like this, option A, or would you just draw this? What do you think? Which option would you prefer? Obviously B, correct? Okay, so obviously B would be used to just to show a TV, not, let's say, the first symbol will not be used because it's very hard each time to draw that, and moreover it is going to acquire a lot of space. It will acquire a lot of space, moreover it will take a lot of time to draw, so hence we are just going to draw zigzag lines. That's it. Okay, good, 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 good. Now, let us talk about this. Suppose if I am saying that this is a material, right? Suppose it has a length of, let's say, 4 meter, for example. Okay. And let me just again have a wire which, suppose, let's say, has length of, suppose, 10 meter. Okay. Can I just say that whatever the atoms it has, 4 meter, 10 meter will have more atoms? If you are talking about in terms of length, so 10 meter will have more atoms and 4 meter will have less atoms. Agreed? Okay. So in short, can we say the resistance was being offered by atoms? So if 4 meter has certain number of atoms, so it will have resistance. But if the atoms are more, so that means, can we say 10 meter wire will offer more resistance because it has more atoms? More resistance is being offered by 10 meters because it has more atoms. Very simple. More atoms means more resistance, a simple language. Okay, this is the first point. This is the first point. But let's say keep one point in mind, that we are not changing the area. We are not changing the area. Area is being kept as it is. Okay? For this particular purpose. For now, just remember that we are not changing area. I will definitely explain what is the relation between area and length. But right now, just remember that whenever the length is increasing, your resistance is increasing. So can we have a relation between resistance and length? Okay, so can we say resistance and length is directly proportional, because if length is increasing, resistance is also increasing? Direct relation, right? It's not an inverse relation. Okay. Now, next point. Next point. What I'm doing is I'm taking a 2 meter, let's say a 2 meter wire. I am taking another wire which is again 2 meters itself. Now the area for the first case is, suppose, let us say this much. The breadth is around, suppose, let us say let's say 3 meters. The breadth in this case is, for example, is 5 meters. Can you apply rectangle area formula and give me the answer? What would be the area for this? Length into breadth, and area for second case, that is length into breadth. What do you think is the value of? It's like 3 into 2, right? 6. Okay. And the answer for this is 5 into 2, that is 10. Okay. What would be the unit? Unit meter square, because 3 meters, meter into meter is meter square. Okay, so the answer would be meter square. Correct? Okay, fine. So the upper part has lower area, the bottom part has higher area. Okay, ठीक है. If that is the case, tell me one thing. If I am trying to show electrons here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I say more? I am able to fit more electrons in the bottom wire because the area is more, 10 meters square. My electrons are more in this case. See, I was able to fit only 3 electrons in a row, but I was able to fit almost like 5 electrons in second wire. Correct? Okay. So if more electrons are there, more electrons, can I just say current will be more? If more electrons, more current, less resistance, because if the current is more, resistance would be less. Okay, so resistance is less. Okay, then what kind of relation are we saying? Can we say if area increases, current increases, and resistance decreases? So that means relation between R and A is inverse. It's an inverse relation. Because if your resistance is let's say increasing, your area is decreasing. Like, no, it's a reverse format. Okay, so we have two things. Okay, Aditya, what you're saying? If electrons are more, okay, okay. Aditya, again, you are making the mistake. See, what I don't understand is why you are confusing between electrons, protons, and neutrons. If electrons, you yourself are saying electrons are more, atoms are more, so resistance will also be more. It's not the case. Your electrons will never result into increase of atoms. Electrons has nothing to do with the atoms itself. So if your electrons are increasing, it doesn't mean that your atoms are increasing, because you are thinking that these electrons are the part of atom. They are not. These are called as free electrons. These are not the part of the atoms. They are roaming inside the material. So it has nothing to do with atoms itself. So your electron increases, it doesn't mean atoms are increasing. Is it okay? I hope you're understanding, Aditya, that your atoms are not going to increase just because your electrons are increasing. Okay, good. So can we mix up these two things? First thing, we said that resistance is directly proportional to length. Second thing, we said that resistance is inversely proportional to area. Okay, so can we combine both of them? The combination would be resistance is equal to L by A. Correct? Okay, resistance is proportional to L by A. Okay, let us combine this. So we have combined. So if I want to remove this, so I would be putting equal to sign, and then I have to put a constant value there, a constant, and then again length by area. So the word I'm, let's say, putting here, I can put any letter, right? But I'm going to put a symbol there, not a letter, a symbol. Okay, that symbol is this one. What is this? This is called as rho, and that is the name of that symbol. And what does it represent? What kind of physical quantity are we talking about? This is called as resistivity. This is resistivity. Okay, so the symbol name is rho, and actually the physical quantity it is representing is resistivity. So as in terms in Ohm's law, we said that V is equal to IR, right? And then we gave the definition for, let us say, the resistance. In the same way, we are going to define this as well. We are going to talk about the unit of this, and then we are going to talk the meaning of resistivity. So first thing, have you understood that how exactly we have come to this formula? The first thing. Then we will talk about what is the unit of this. Then we will talk about what is the definition of that resistivity. Okay, so let us talk about the unit now. Let us talk about unit, how we can derive that. Okay, so to derive the unit, do you remember the how you had derived unit in for your G, capital G, in your ninth standard gravitation? There was something called as G, and this was the case, right? So to find out the unit of G, you transferred everything to the other side. That is F into D square divided by M1, M2. And then you wrote down individual units. The unit of force is Newton, then distance unit is meter square, and then kg into kg, that is kg square. So this is how you found out the unit of G last time for your ninth standard. In the same way, we are going to find out unit for rho also. How we can do that? See, it's a very simple technique. Resistance is equals to rho L by A. To find out the unit of rho, you transfer everything to the other side. Okay, so rho is equals to R into A divided by L. What is the unit of resistance? Ohm. What is the unit of area? Meter square. What is the unit of length? Meter. Can I write down meter square as meter into meter? Meter into meter for meter square, and the bottom is meter again. So can I cancel one of them? So what is remaining then? The remaining part is ohm meter. Agreed? The remaining part is ohm meter. So this is the unit of rho. Rho unit is ohm meter. So have you understood the first thing, how we have derived the unit of, let's say, resistivity? It was just a formula. We put every value there, the units, the remaining units, and we found out that the unit is ohm meter. Very simple logic. Okay, the same logic which you used in your gravitation. Okay, so ohm meter is the unit. Now let us talk about the definition, because these two terms seem same. Resistance is almost, suppose let's say the words are same, resistance and resistivity. See, both of them seems equal, like the logic remains same. Okay, so let us have resistivity definition. Now for that we will require formula. We'll require formula, that is resistance equals to rho L by A. Now let me put the unit of length as, let's say the value of length as 1 meter, and value of area as 1 meter square. So can I just say the formula will become R is equals to rho 1 by 1. Okay, because the value of length is 1, area value is 1. So 1 and 1 is getting cancelled. So what I am getting? Resistance is equal to resistivity. Is this the relation we are getting? Kindly understand this first. Are you understanding what we did to get that relation? What we did was we put length as 1 meter and we put area as 1 meter square. So one got cancelled and we got resistance is equal to resistivity. Okay, but then can I just say that resistivity is resistance? Can I just say, because from this relation, resistivity is resistance, but for how much length? But for 1 meter length and 1 meter square area. But for 1 meter length and 1 meter square area. Can you please, let's say, let me know in the chat box whether have you understanding first the relation resistance is equal to resistivity. Now based on that definition, we have created our own definition of resistivity. That resistivity is resistance, but it is only when the length is 1 meter and the area is 1 meter square. Okay, take care. So one thing we understood from this particular formula is resistance is equal to resistivity, correct? So that means resistivity is resistance. It is resistance, but there was a condition. What was the condition we used? Length is equal to 1 meter, area is 1 meter square. So it's a resistance, but for 1 meter length and 1 meter square area. So Mani, have you understood? It's a very simple definition. It's a resistance is same, and you have to maintain the, let's say, mention the condition which you used. So this is my condition. Length is 1 meter, area is 1 meter square. Acha. Can you please, somebody please tell me, can somebody use in place of 1 meter and 1 meter square area, can somebody use 1 centimeter and 1 centimeter square? Or somebody might use 1 kilometer and 1 kilometer square, right? Yes, definitely. Those are the units of length and area. So people can change this. Okay, so do we need to make changes in our definition then? Okay, so let me write down the definition which we wrote and the new changes. So resistivity is resistance. Resistivity is resistance only, but for 1 meter length and 1 meter square area. Now the problem is that 1 meter is not universal. Some student might use some another length unit. So I'm going to change this definition. I'm going to write down resistivity is resistance, but for unit length and unit area. Please understand the changes what I have made. 1 meter length, let's say in place of 1 meter length, I have written unit length. And in place of 1 meter square area, I have written unit area. Now a student can use any unit for my definition now. He can use here 1 centimeter. Unit means what? 1. Unit means what? 1. So he can either use 1 centimeter, he can use 1 meter square, he can use 1 kilometer square, he can use even mile. It doesn't matter. He can use any unit in this case. Same goes for this as well. Either 1 centimeter square, 1 meter square, or 1 kilometer square. It doesn't matter what kind of unit he's using. So have you understood the changes which I have made? The second definition. So in the exam, you have to use this second definition. Resistivity is resistance, but for unit length and unit area. Agreed? Let me know in the chat section whether you have understood what kind of changes I have made to our original definition, the problem it had, and the reason why we changed it. Okay. Fine. Now let's talk about one of the factors which is remaining. Now let us talk about resistivity first. Okay, let us complete this topic and then we'll go for the next point. Tell me one thing. Suppose if I have taken this wire is of iron, okay, and this, let's say, piece is again of iron, correct? Let us just consider the length of this wire is 2 meters and the length of this wire is 1 meter. So length is 1 meter. Here the length is 2 meter, right? And area, suppose, let us say, area, consider this is something like 6 meters square. Forget about the area. Tell me one thing. Will the resistance be different for iron A and iron B? Can we say RA is not equals to RB? The resistance will not be equal because after all the lengths are different. So resistance definitely different. What about resistivity? Is it equal or not? Resistivity, does it depend on length? It doesn't depend on length, right? The length has been taken as 1 meter, the area has taken as 1 meter square. So it doesn't depend on length and area. So it doesn't matter, let's say, whether you are changing length or area. It depends only if the material is same. Is the material same in the first case and second case? In the first case, you use iron. In the second case, it is iron. Then your resistivity will be same. Doesn't matter what kind of wires you are using. So somebody came up with, suppose somebody told me that he has a wire of, suppose, let's say 25 meter, and I have a wire, suppose, let's say of 2 meters, right? Iron. So one thing will be same for both of them, will be resistivity. So resistivity of both of them will be equal, but resistance will not be same, because resistance depends on length, resistivity doesn't depend on length. Are you understanding this point? Please let me know. That resistivity will be same in both the cases because the material is same. Okay, so if I want to change the resistivity, can I just say material should be different? Like maybe first I have used iron, then I have to use plastic or maybe some another piece of material. Okay, so let us have one more example. Let me have one more example. Suppose this is 2 meters, this is 2 meters, and this is suppose, let's say, copper, and this is aluminium. This is A and this is B. Now, can you tell me what about the resistance? Resistance of A and resistance of B, will they be equal or different? What do you think? Resistance. Okay, resistance. Of course, resistance will be different because the material used in both of these are different, even though the lengths are same. But the problem is that the material is different, so resistance would be different. What about resistivity? Resistivity will also be different. That also will be different because that is same only if the material is same. The material is not same, so hence obviously different. Okay, correct. So so have you understood that resistivity will not change for a material if the material is same? Suppose, let's say, if I have a gold piece, if I have a gold, let's say a piece, let's say maybe substance, and you do have a gold piece, so resistivity will be same for my material and your material. But resistance might be different because of the length changed. Your length area might be different, my length area might be different of the gold, so resistivity might be different. Are you understanding the difference between the two? Let's say when to consider resistivity is same and when to consider resistance is same. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about something more. There is one more concept which we want to discuss. First question: who was offering resistance? Can you please tell me who was offering resistance? Atoms, right? The first answer is atoms. Okay, correct. Who was getting resistance? Atoms were offering resistance. Who was getting resistance? Electrons, right? Electrons were getting resistance, like they were being stopped. Now, can I just say during that time the atoms were in place. Now, suppose somebody started heating this up. Somebody started giving heat to this material, right? From the bottom they started heating. Can we say in your lower grade, in your ninth, somebody might have told you this, that when heat is supplied, atoms tend to move away from each other, right? So can we just say these atoms will move in random directions? They will start moving in random directions. Initially they were rest, let's say they were at rest, but now they have started moving in every direction because of the heats you supplied. Okay, so now you tell me if there is one electron which wants to go from this place to this place. This is my electron, it wants to go from this place to this place. Can I just say, because of your temperature, now it will be more hard? Because they are moving randomly, so they will obviously stop the path of my electron, and let's say my electron will take a lot of time just to come from point A to point B, because the atoms are moving. Matlab, you just consider this something like you are roaming inside a marketplace and the people are roaming so much that you are not able to pass through. You are the electron and the people who are roaming are the atoms. Okay, so in short, can I just say, if temperature increases, More obstruction is created, that means resistance will be more. If temperature increases, resistance increases, because atoms tend to move away from each other and they create more obstruction for the electrons. They try to stop it every way possible. Okay, good, 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 good. So, what's the relation then between resistance and temperature? Direct or indirect? What should I use? Should I use, let's say, like this or like this? Option A or option B? What do you think? Which one should I use? Should I go for A or should I go for B? Option A, of course, because A is showing direct relation. Correct? Okay, so that's the case. That's the case. Okay, let me see. There is one doubt. Urjit, what you're saying? Sir, after hitting, the metal will expand and the surface area will increase. So won't the resistance drop? Yes, Urjit, that will definitely. But till that time, we are not considering the change in the area here. We are just considering all these factors individually. When we are talking about length, we didn't talk about area. When we talked about area, we didn't talk about length. When we are talking about temperature, we are neither talking about length, neither area. We are considering these factors in an isolated manner. Is it okay? That combined effect will come in your 12th standard, not in 10th. No, Urjit, we cannot say that overall resistance will increase. It depends. It depends on your material. It depends on the condition. So we cannot exactly say that the resistance will increase or decrease. It depends on the conditions. We cannot be sure. Okay. So can we move ahead then? Chalo. So we have talked about resistance and let's say resistivity and everything. So can we have one more thing in our plate? That is resistance. It depends on what, and resistivity depends on what. Okay. So resistance depends on. Can we just say first is length, area, temperature, and nature of the material. Okay. Length you must have understood, area you must have understood, temperature you also must have understood. What about nature? Nature means whether the material is a conductor or insulator. It depends, no? Because resistance of copper will be different from silver, or silver resistance might be different from copper. So nature. So how we are denoting nature? Nature by rho basically. So nature means we are talking about resistivity actually. Okay. Now, does resistance depends on length? No, right? So resistance doesn't depend on, let's say, length. What about area? No, even area resistivity doesn't depend on area, because area is taken as 1 meter square, length is 1 meter. Temperature, yes, temperature will change because resistivity has no factor of temperature in the formula. So if temperature changes, resistivity will also change. What about nature? Yes, of course. Resistivity changes according to the material. So nature is also same. So can we say resistance has four factors on which it depends: length, area, temperature, nature. But resistivity depends only on two factors, and that is temperature and nature. Only temperature and nature, nothing more. So have you understood the difference between the two? That resistance depends on whom and resistivity depends on whom? Let me know, because in the exam you can use these things to distinguish between the two, and you can even throw let's say the unit of both of them. Unit of resistance is ohm and unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Okay, so these are the 2 points which you need to write down in the exam, let's say according to the necessity. Okay, now a simple question which I want to ask you, a simple question. These are metals, okay? Then we are talking about alloys, okay? And the last point we are going to discuss is let's say insulators. This is the last question of the day, and we'll stop our period now because you have more periods after this. Let me know who has high resistance out of this: metals, alloys, and insulators. See, alloys are created from metals, and hence alloys have, suppose let's say they are impure forms of metals, you can say. So if I'm writing down resistance, 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 can I say The highest resistance will be with whom? Insulators. Highest resistance will be with insulators, not with metals. Metal has low resistance. They allow electricity to flow through them. They do not stop. They allow electricity. So resistance of insulators will be more. What about rho? What about rho? If I'm talking about rho, resistivity, can I just say the relation will be same, something like this? Because resistivity and resistance is same. Highest resistivity value will be for insulators, lowest value will be for metals, because they are almost same, right? Okay, so this is the last point, suppose, let's say, from our today's topic that we wanted to discuss, and here we can end. And as, let's say, you have another session, I think I recommend that you, let's say, exit our class right now and you join another class, because that period might have started just as we are speaking. So thank you so much for today, and we'll discuss rest of the things in the next period. Yes, the recordings will be sent, don't worry. Yes, everybody have a great day. Thank you so much. Yes, bye bye.